Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Piqua High School Athletic Hall of Fame Classes of 2025 induction. And for those that have left and come back, welcome and welcome home. Piqua is truly a special place. We talk about that a lot. I don't want to overdo it, but tonight I think we're going to write another chapter as to why it is so special. We will get more into those particulars, but we have three people that have transcended and really have made Piqua very special in the timelines and the time frames that it was, and it continues to be still remembered. And tonight we're going to talk a lot more about that here after dinner. Without further ado, though, I'd like to introduce to you our superintendent. Had other commitments with the family and could not be here tonight. But at this point, I would like to introduce you to our assistant superintendent, the guy that you might know from the class of 1991, Mr. Tony Lyons.
I may have to get a step ladder for that mic now. I think Chip adjusted the schedule so that I would go before dinner because he knew I wouldn't take too long up here, probably to get you guys up there to the food. First of all, good evening, everybody, and welcome to the 2025 Athletic Hall of Fame induction ceremony. On behalf of Piqua City Schools Board of Education, the superintendent, who unfortunately couldn't be here this evening, we're obviously very thrilled to be here for this moment and be gathered together to celebrate the induction of all three of these individuals and their achievements and lasting legacies of some truly special people, athletes, coaches, other contributors that I'm sure you're going to hear about tonight. It's a special night, a chance to honor the dedication, talent, and spirit that have defined Piqua athletics for many generations. I think it's important to mention that we're here to recognize not just their victories on the field, but also the character, the hard work, the dedication, commitment, the sportsmanship that each of these folks embodied. I'd like to take a minute to recognize Chip Hare and Jody Toops. Chip's the athletic director and Jody's the assistant, as well as the selection committee and those members for their commitment to making sure this process goes smoothly and we get some amazing people into the Hall of Fame. For Coach Hull, Heather, and Julie, congratulations on this much-deserved honor and recognition. Chip didn't have to tell what year, but yes, as a graduate of Piqua City Schools, I can truly say that I'm humbled and grateful with this particular group and every group that comes in for your commitment and continued success and recognition of our athletic programs here at Piqua City Schools. So without further ado, and yes, we're getting close to dinner, thanks for joining us as we induct these very much deserving individuals into the Piqua City Schools 2025 Athletic Hall of Fame. Let the celebration begin. Thank you.
Thanks, Tony. I failed to introduce myself earlier. My name is Chip Hare. I have the pleasure of being the athletic director here for Piqua City Schools. At this time, we are going to go ahead and get ready for dinner. We should have an invocation, so I will just go ahead and do that. If you please bow your heads. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for bringing us here tonight to celebrate, to remember great times, great moments, and great memories. Those moments don't happen without people and relationships with coaches and teammates and parents and family members and friends that made those moments extra special. Lord, we ask you to watch over us tonight, guide us in our fellowship. We ask you to bless this food, may it nourish our bodies, and we thank you for all that you've given us. We say this in Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Good evening again, ladies and gentlemen, and would like to just, before we get started, start with a couple of introductions. And first and foremost, a big thank you to someone who really makes things happen behind the scenes, and she wants no recognition, and she's hiding in the room so you don't find her, so don't look, please, so she doesn't stare. Jody Toops, who is our athletic administrative assistant, she is outstanding in that, and I mean that in the most sincerest way with a capital O. She has helped with a lot of the things and a lot of the details that you see, from the flowers to the program to making sure that you got the invitations and everything out. So a big thank you to Jody for assisting. Also, food was pretty good tonight. Yeah. Thank you to the Bakers Catering. They did a nice job. Appreciate their time and energy. Hall of Fame Committee. These things just don't happen. People just don't show up without putting people in a room and trying to figure out all the particulars to what goes on with nominating and then selection. We had over 25 people to select from, and it goes without a lot of time and conversation and reading and more conversations and things of that nature. And I really want to take this opportunity to thank those that serve on the committee. Our volleyball coach, Jen Hillscamp, is on the committee. She's not just called me just a little bit ago, and something came up with the family, wasn't able to attend, but we'll thank her. Rob Messick, our principal from the high school. Randy Pearson. Also would like to Bill Neese, Troy Uhl, Kathy Grazier, and Ed Perk. I'd like to give them a round of applause. Thank you for their time and efforts in making these selections. Not to repeat the names, but I would like to introduce the inductees. We have 4 Hall of Fame inductees here tonight. That is Mr. Ed Perk, Kathy Grazier, Troy Uhl, and Bill Neese. Let's give them a round of applause. Tonight, we celebrate 3 individuals that made a major impact on Piqua City Schools. Here we go. Piqua Athletics and the city of Piqua tonight will cement 3 legacies of individuals that made their mark, led their teams, and turned PHS upside down and inside out, inside the building and outside the building. These 3 individuals and their teams not only made Piqua and their respective teams better, but helped set the bar for our current and future student athletes. Just follow me a little bit. We're going to go down a time of timeline here, and let's go back in time, because these 3 people that are getting in really help transcend where things are. So most of us, there's a few of us I can see that weren't alive in 1970. But let's go back to that time frame. 1972. Major law passes, Title IX. And that was a game changer for what was to be and what we see today even in athletics. 1975. The Department of Education issues and regulates and enforces that athletics, and particularly girls and boys, they get the same privileges. So 1975. 1976 and 1977. Julie, I'm going to guess that maybe you and your friends might have been tapping your toe to this one. Remember this one? Locker room? Yeah? Oh yeah, okay. So, if we had more time, I'd make us all get up and start dancing. And that'd be a lot of fun, but we're not on a cruise ship, so I can't do that right now. That's a toe tapper, yeah. You did that on the bus?
No, the lady wasn't too happy with the story.
Yeah, portable radio. What did they have back then, right? Sincerely. What? Oh, okay, all right. No, there's no plugging in, you know, right? Yeah.
No, we can say.
So, Julie, but at that time, Coach Don Hull, who graduated from Piqua in 1970, we're in the 70s, and he comes in and starts teaching right about that time. And women's athletics starts, and he really kind of is a big part of that part, but he kind of comes later into what we call the golden ages of women's athletics in Piqua High School. And those were when things were really good. We look at athletics, I mean, things were good, always good with football, right, Coach Neese? I mean, the 92 team, that was your first year as coach. Football team's really doing great. Coach Gold, if he was here, I mean, the baseball team was really good. But girls athletics at Piqua was really starting to get, if you don't know anything about Piqua, you don't know anything about the history of Piqua athletics, you just walk into our gymnasium tonight, you look on that far wall, and you're going to see 1992, 1993 state final appearances in both softball and softball and volleyball. That tells you how good things were going at that time. I'm going to guess, Heather and Molly, maybe you guys might have been listening to this on your own. Little different tune than Dancing Queen, but I'm sure this was probably played in your locker room a little bit. Yeah. So those were the golden times, and certainly a good time that was happening here at Piqua. And we tonight want to celebrate that. Our first inductee is Coach Don Hull. Don was a graduate of Piqua Central High School in 1970. He had a real passion for playing the game of basketball. He was a starter and a major contributor on the school's only boys basketball district championship team in 1969. Upon graduating from high school, Don pursued his education degree from Bowling Green State University and Wright State University before returning to Piqua to dedicate his career to teaching for 35 years as a social studies and geography teacher, and started his prosperous coaching career. Don coached for over 40 years, coaching boys and girls basketball and softball. Coach Hull led the softball team at Piqua for 20 years, and in that time built an extraordinary legacy of success. With a softball coaching record of 278 wins and 145 losses, his teams consistently demonstrated excellence on and off the field. Under his leadership, Piqua earned three league titles, 4 sectional titles, 3 district championships, 2 regional championships, and 2 consecutive state appearances, as I mentioned earlier. Don was named District Coach of the Year for Division I softball team 3 times. A testament to his dedication, skill, and impact on the sport. Coach Hull passed away at the age of 71 on July 15, 2023. His positive impact on his former students and players still resonates today with many. No doubt he made Piqua a better place on and off the field. Tonight, he is being spoken to and about by his granddaughter, Laura Bosen. Ladies and gentlemen, Laura Bose for Coach Don Hull.
I'm tall, but not that tall. All right. Good evening, everyone. First, I would like to extend my sincerest gratitude to the Piqua High School Athletic Hall of Fame Committee for honoring my grandfather, Don Holt, with this incredible recognition. When we learned about this, it was, we were overjoyed as a whole entire family, and we couldn't really capture it into words how that made us feel. His legacy will forever be a part of Piqua High School, and we are deeply touched to be here tonight for this acknowledgement. For those of you who may not know, my name is Laura Bose. I'm actually a teacher in the district here now, so I'm kind of following in those footsteps here. Though he is no longer with us, with his wit and his wisdom and his infectious laughter, his life lessons continue to guide and inspire us every day. Papa to Coach Holt. Many of you know him as that. He began his coaching career when my mom was just 2 years old, and she's an old lady now. Fresh out of Bowling Green, he returned to Piqua to teach and coach, dedicating over 35 years to shaping young minds, both in the classroom and on the field too. And let me tell you, teaching 7th grade for his entire career was no small feat. So anyone who has ever had a 7th grader and parented a 7th grader, God bless you. So it requires a lot of humor, some sharp wit in there. Whether it was in the classroom or in the sidelines, he made history lessons not just educational, but fun too. My mom, my dad, my uncle, my sister and I were all fortunate to have him as a student in his class, and I got bullied by him a lot. And he left an incredible mark on everybody. Growing up, my family was always surrounded by stories of basketball and softball games, reliving the big wins, the unforgettable moments, and the lessons that were learned along the way. My mom would always tell us how she grew up in the gym, cheering on his teams, and I got to do that as well, being a ball girl. So I got to travel for basketball with them, and I was one of the teammates when I was like 12. And as life often does, it comes full circle for me when I watched him coach my sister Kelsey during her high school basketball career. One of the most special moments was when my mom actually got to be his second base coach, which was really cool. There's no better symbol of how a deep bond that they shared, built on years of sports, teamwork, and love. His dedication to coaching was truly unmatched. So for 40 years, he poured his heart and soul into guiding athletes, both on the basketball court and on the softball field. One of his proudest achievements was leading the men's JV basketball team to an undefeated season of 20-0. But his impact stretched far beyond his victories on the scoreboard. He taught his players the true meaning of sportsmanship, teamwork, and perseverance. Values that shaped them not into just great athletes, but great people. And if you had him as a teacher, those lessons are probably still there with you. His passion for fast-pitch softball was extraordinary. And for 18 years, he led the Piqua girls varsity team to an impressive record, which we saw. Under his leadership, the team claimed 3 league titles, 4 sectional championships, 3 district titles, 2 regionals, and made back-to-back trips to the state finals in '92 and '93. I had the privilege of witnessing him receive his induction to the Ohio High School Fast-Pitch Softball Coaches Association Hall of Fame in 2005. What an unforgettable moment for our family, knowing his years of hard work have been honored on such a significant stage, and that's where that picture is from. But Papa didn't just coach teams, he built relationships. Whether you were a student, player, colleague, or friend, you always knew you were in the presence of someone who genuinely cared about you and believed in your potential as a person. As his granddaughter, I consider myself incredibly fortunate to have witnessed the impact firsthand. He was not just an exceptional coach, but he was an extraordinary grandfather as well. He taught us about the importance of hard work, humility, and the joy of giving back. His love for sports, for his family, and for his community lives on with each and every one of us. And I know his memory will continue to inspire everyone here tonight. On behalf of my family, thank you again for honoring Papa, or Coach Ho, as you may know, and ensuring that his legacy will forever be a part of the Piqua High School history. We're so proud of him, and we are deeply grateful to share this moment with you. Thank you.
So when a lot of people found out that Coach Hull was in, I've had several people come up to me and say to me, oh, I've got a good Coach Hull story. I got a good Coach Hull story. Now, I have to be honest, some of them are not appropriate to tell in a setting like this. However, there is a good story that I can tell that's appropriate, or a little more clean. He was a very passionate coach. And so this comes from one of my predecessors, athletic director. But he was, it was a JV game at Northmont. And the game was, it was tight, it was close, and he felt like the team needed a timeout. So visualize this in a game. It's late in the game, about 2 minutes to go, and Northmont steals the ball from Piqua, and they are heading towards their own basket. Apparently, he tried to catch the officials' attention before they stole the ball. Well, they stole the ball, and they're actually ready to go for a layup, and Coach Hull himself ran onto the court, cut the young man off. Fortunately, there was no injury, and proceeded to get a technical foul, but he did get the timeout that he was looking for. He asked after the game, athletic director says, "What was that about?" He said, "I needed a timeout." Doesn't surprise you, I'm sure. Our next candidate is from the class of 1994, Heather Shefboot. Heather was a three-sport athlete and one of the catalysts to help make what have been described as the golden age of Piqua female athletics in the early to mid-1990s. But she was one of the leaders and certainly one of the great players that helped propel PHS's volleyball team to back-to-back state final appearances in 1992 and 1993. In her junior and senior seasons, she also led her team to back-to-back league titles, along with back-to-back sectional, district, and regional championships. As a three-year varsity letterman, Heather captained her team in those 2 years with an overall astounding record of 50 wins and only 4 losses. Heather also earned many individual honors that included First Team All-State, First Team All-District, First Team GMVC, District Player of the Year, OHSVCA All-Ohio Team, Journal Herald First Team All-Area, WTRJ Player of the Year, Miami Valley Coaches Association All-Star Team, and was the Ray Burek Women in Sports Award nominee. In addition, she set 3 school records for the most sets in a game, most sets in a season, and most assists in a season. Along with her volleyball honors, Heather was an all-conference selection for girls basketball as well. While her team and individual honors are impressive, what made Heather so special was her ability to lead by example. Her high school and college volleyball coach, Julie, described her as having a calming effect on her teammates regardless of what the circumstances were. Her team could always count on her to be consistent and steady, as she was also known as to have some fun along the way. After graduating from Piqua in 1994, she earned a scholarship and attended Rio Grande University for 2 seasons. Heather then reunited with Coach Julie Hall at Elmhurst College to close out her volleyball career, where she earned a bachelor's degree in geography and environmental planning. Heather moved to Milwaukee after graduating from Elmhurst, where she worked in environmental consulting and other work related to environmental services. She is semi-retired currently, where she spends a lot of time with her twin sister and her many friends. Piqua played an instrumental role in launching Heather to where she is today in many ways on and off the volleyball court. She has a true appreciation of where she comes from, and her experience as a student athlete at Piqua helped shape who she is even today. Ladies and gentlemen, from the class of 1994, Heather Sheffield.
Hello. I don't think I have to say much now that Chip said it all, so thank you and goodbye. It's an honor to be here. I appreciate the nomination. I'm honored to be here with another volleyball inductee as well, Julie. Welcome. I don't like to talk about myself, so I would like to just thank everybody who's helped me along the way. It started early on, even with family friends. I have friends but family, the Bargies. They have been in my life since I can remember, so I appreciate them coming here today. With volleyball, I had so many people, I had a village. You know, they always say it takes a village. So it started out with the Demanges and the Humes, drove me around to all kinds of tournaments and helped me out with everything that I could even think of. I also had helps with the Hinkelines. They were a big part of my life in high school. I appreciate everything that everybody has done for me. Couldn't have gotten anywhere without all that help. So thank you all for that. Coaching wise, started with Tom Cole at Wilder. He was probably, to me, the best the best junior high coach I could ever imagine. He taught the skills, he taught you anything you needed to know, and he was hard on us. He wasn't just teaching us little things, he was out there hitting at us and making it hard for us so that we could grow. And then that leads up to Peg Poling and Julie Hall. I don't think you can ask for better coaches than that. No offense to any current coaches, you all are great, but I feel like we had the best coaches there ever could be. So much so, like Chip said, I decided to go back to her in college. I couldn't live without her, so I needed her in my life to help me. And I was told not to tell any stories about Julie Hall, but I have to tell at least one. One of my ones that Miss P told me not to tell, but she's not here, so she can't stop me. We had gone to Troy and played in a tournament and won the invitational tournament, and on the way back, we decided to go to the Piqua Mall. And we had the two big blue vans that got us down to the tournament, and Miss P and Coach Hall are driving in circles all throughout the parking lot, just going nuts out there, and no accidents, don't worry. But yeah, so that's a fond memory. Coach Hall, she was tough on you, but she also knew how to have fun. And she taught you a lot of life lessons in that meantime. You know, we, as a volleyball team, she had the juniors and seniors mentor the freshmen and sophomores. So you always had somebody to go to if you were struggling, if you needed help, if you were afraid to talk to one of the coaches, you had your senior partner there to help you. And I think, you know, that was a wonderful plan that she had, and just, I admire her and love her to death. I know this is an individual honor, but volleyball is a team sport. You can't do it on your own. I had asked Molly Hume to come, and two others that are going to go to the game, to come with me because they were seniors in '94 as well. And I just wanted to recognize my teammates, Molly Hume, Leisha Helton, and Jenny Summers. We're all '94 graduates, so thank you. I couldn't have got as many assists and stuff without you hitting it and getting kills, so thank you for your help as well. I also wanted to mention Title IX. As a female athlete, doesn't matter if it was Julie, if it was myself, if it's the next athlete today, you are always making way for the next generation of women athletes, and it'll never stop, you know, passing the torch and just helping your fellow women. So I know we have a lot of inductees: Julie Hall, Peg Poling, Meg Montgomery, Maggie Clark, Tara Trissel, a lot of volleyball in this class, or in this, you know, Hall of Fame, and they've all made it better for the next generation. And I just want to thank everybody from that, especially Julie. You started us off, and Miss P, so thank you very much, and I'll stop rambling. Thank you.
So I had the opportunity to talk to Coach Hall in the last couple of weeks. And I had met with her a couple times, and there's some fun stories that I've heard from Coach Zeller and her. They talked together and talked about how intense and Julie was. And so when I asked Julie about this 92-93 team, you know, the fact that a lot of times people don't get to go to state once in their career or when they're playing in high school. But the fact that you went back to back, that's a lot of pressure, I would think. So I asked Coach that. I said, did you feel pressure going back in? Because you had essentially everybody back. I think Megan graduated in 93, but you had essentially your core. And she said, no, she said this was a fun group. They came to practice. They were fun to coach. They had a fun personality. Heather kept us on pace. There come times she got annoyed and she had to keep us, back in line. But I did ask her this one question as a coach, and we got coach in the room, and they'll know what I mean. I said, 30 years later, do you still think about the final? Like, maybe and she said, I'm appreciative of, and I quote, I'm appreciative of having the opportunity to coach. But if I knew then what I know now, we would have won the games. But that's a competitive spirit in her. So, again, a pretty exciting time there for volleyball. And as you mentioned, Heather, there's a lot of volleyball players in the Athletic Hall of Fame, and that's pretty special. One of those people that was the one that started it, and it's fun as an athletic director, if you can visualize. I was telling this analogy. If I have a glass vase and I drop it and it goes in different pieces, I get bits and pieces of eras and teams as I talk about the 90s and then maybe the 80s, and you pick up some from the 70s, and it's nice to talk to people and put those pieces together to find out what that was. And Title IX really was a big deal and a big part of, and Mr. Perkin and I have talked about what that would have been like in the mid-70s, that essentially girls didn't have a league, to now shifting them in a league. Our girls today in 2025, they wouldn't understand, what do you mean you didn't have a league? Isn't everybody, if you have a locker room, and didn't you play in the same gym? And that wasn't the case. Julie shared with me tonight that you played your games at Washington. So things have evolved a little bit since then, and that's just part of where Title IX is. And Julie, our next inductee, really was, and I move right into it, was a pioneer in many ways for being one of the first great female athletes in Piqua athletics. She was a 3-sport athlete in volleyball, basketball, and softball. Julie not only competed in those sports, but was the first female athlete that earned first team all-conference in all 3 sports in school's history. In addition, she was the first Piqua female athlete to earn first team all-district in volleyball. So all those great volleyball players that we were talking about, Julie was the first one to lay that gauntlet out there and set the bar. After graduating from Piqua Central High School in 1977, Julie went to Ball State University for 2 years and finished a degree in radiological sciences and Kettering Science of Medical Arts. While working at full-time in X-ray and at Detmer Hospital, Julie also coached junior high basketball at Bennett. She helped coach the summer swim team at the country club, and was also known as a championship swimmer as a young lady before getting involved in school athletics. Julie moved to Houston, Texas, where she resides today, and had a 25-year career in one of the leading cancer centers in the United States. She continued to stay involved with volleyball, but she was a volleyball official in the state of Texas. One special note that should be mentioned: Julie also had the opportunity to compete for 3 years at the high school level at a time that Piqua Central was a 3-year high school, unlike today where young ladies have the opportunity to compete or 4 of their years of high school. So we have a lot of student athletes that get 4-year letters, really did not have that opportunity because of the way the high school was set out. Julie was the face of Piqua female athletics when she competed at Piqua. She was an outstanding leader in the age when Title IX was new and women were coming into their potential as athletes. Julie laid the foundation for the future of many great female athletes to come at Piqua. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my privilege to introduce to you Julie Trion.
Thank you very much. I was very humbled to get the phone call that this was happening. So I don't like to talk about myself either. So Heather, I agree with you on that point. I would like to thank the board. I would like to thank the board, and I would like to congratulate the inductees going in with me, as well the previous ones. It's a great honor. And Mr. Perk, he was the athletic director. And I'm surprised anybody else was born because I'm one of the old ladies as well. So I don't know if being a pioneer is good or not. But yes, came in at the cusp of Title IX. And Washington, the janitor was kind enough to set up the nets for us that there wasn't really a locker room. And of course, we're using first grade toilets. So it's a good thing that we were all in great shape because they were almost on the floor. And Pam Kanine is here with us today. And she played as our videographer and our assistant coach. Thank you, Pam. Peg couldn't be here. And we didn't have any fans. We had our parents and our siblings. They were on the little stage where at the elementary school, and in between games, our parents would go out and smoke. And after one particular game that we were crushing people at the time, we were very fortunate. I guess we were kind of acting arrogant. And Coach Pulling never made it to the locker room, but our parents came in, and boy, did we all get a tongue lashing from every one of our parents. And they all said, "We will never come back if you act like that again." So after that, we were the most humble people and never acknowledged anything because we knew we'd get in trouble. So it was a different time, and I know Pam and Peg studied the film. There really wasn't any place for us to study the film. Like I said, there was like maybe 8 or 9 of us on volleyball. Our basketball team was great. And it was just remarkable. We had large leagues. And I remember Coach Hull working with Dave Zeller. When I was in high school, he was the assistant coach, and he helped him with the JV team. So, I mean, we go back a long way. And I think we were very fortunate in that era. But Heather, I have to say, I was impressed. Listen to all your accolades and back-to-back state. That is hard work. And congratulations. So I really don't have too much to say. I was very humbled by my coaches that nominated me. And our parents, we had great teammates. There was never any controversy. It was great camaraderie. Everybody got along. Everybody was proud, whoever accomplished anything. And it was a wonderful time. And I'm really glad I came along in the era that I did. And we all did the best we could, and it was new for everybody. But we didn't think about it. We just went out and did what we had to do. And our friends didn't come. Our friends didn't know much about it. But it was still a fun time. And I did coach with Julie Hall. We did summer swim team, so we got to become friends. And went to Chicago a few times, so I know that she had a remarkable career. So we have been blessed with the pioneers for sure, with the best coaches in Piqua, as far as I'm concerned, between Peg Pulley and Julie Hall. So we are very lucky. And they were great mentors, and they were great people. And they were tough, but they were fair. And I think that's what's most important. in this day and time that everybody is fair. So I'm overwhelmed and I can't thank you enough. And thank you.
I had the, again, privilege to talk to Coach Poling, and actually spoke to more than once. Jody will attest that she is very thorough. If she was as thorough with coaching as she was making sure that Julie got all of the information that the committee got needed to get her in the Hall of Fame, I have no doubt that your scouting reports were color-coded, detailed, and probably or with pictures and all kinds of deals, because we got Julie's packet came in a big yellow packet in the mail. So I pulled it out and there were 10 copies for every committee member that was to be there with all of her information. And then she'd follow up with a phone call to myself. If I didn't pick up the phone within 2 minutes, she then called Jody, made sure that phone call got taken care of. And then about 2 weeks later, when she found out when the committee was meeting, she sent another piece of information with pictures that we were to attach. I had a little picture that that's on her plaque, so everybody knew what she looked like, and it was so very thorough, very thorough. But as Coach said, or excuse me, as Julie said, our coaches were really good with Julie, and both of them wanted to be here tonight, but because of distance, it was not feasible. So I know they're here in spirit. We talk a lot, and the people here on my right are going to start going, oh, I hear this. We are Piqua. We say that a lot. And it's not just a chant. It's just not a cheer. We say that, and tonight I hear it again. It's Piqua special because of the people that make Piqua. I mean, we've had a lot of opportunities to succeed in those things, but our people, from our kids to our coaches to our staff members, all the way through, you hear it ringing again over and over again how Piqua is special. And again, we congratulate all three of you. And we're going to continue to celebrate because this celebration is going to move over to the high school.